What is happening, all you hip, cool cats? My name is Kit. Welcome to Chicago Reacts, and today we are reacting to a YouTube video that we haven't reacted to in a while from this great content creator, MikeburnFire, First Sergeant, Damaged Firearms, Campfire Stories. So let's go ahead and check this video out. And plus, it has come to my attention that this video was also recommended to us. So let me go ahead and at least pull up the name of the person who recommended. This video was suggested to us by Derpy Turtle 0762. So if there's a fun YouTube video you want us to react to, please consider joining our Discord. It's a cool community. There's a lot of cool people there, a lot of hip, cool cats. Please consider, again, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And hit that ring bell notification. That way you're notified when we upload new content to our YouTube channel, Chicago Reacts. And by the way, folks, we got some great content coming up in the very near future, but I'm under strict orders not to say anything for the time being. So without further ado, let's check out this YouTube video. First Sergeant, Damaged Firearms, Campfire Stories by MikeburnFire. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's pull up the screen right here. And since I am the DJ and I am in control of the ones and twos, let's hit that play button one more time.
Did I ever tell you about the two people I met in Iraq who were sergeant, lieutenant, and lieutenant sergeant?
No, I don't think so.
I met two people in Iraq who were part of a completely different company, and their names were lieutenant sergeant and sergeant lieutenant. And they were decent friends, and they would just hang around with each other all the time, so that when someone was like lieutenant, they would both turn around and go, "What?"
We had somebody whose last name was Major, who was a sergeant. He was Sergeant Major.
Oh, that's fun. That's a good one.
That's actually pretty funny. Because I realized, okay, obviously, you have your rank and your name. So someone was called Sergeant Lieutenant, and there was probably an officer who was Lieutenant Sergeant.
Those funny little names, like from the cartoon show, you had Private Public and General Specific.
That was from Sheep in the Big City. I remember that show.
You remember that show?
Oh, man.
There's like 3 episodes of that show, maybe?
There were quite a few episodes of that show, but
They happen a lot in the military, more often than people like to admit.
If I remember correctly, wasn't the premise of the show like this general was trying to capture the sheep for a sheep-powered laser gun?
I think so.
It was like something like that.
Anyway.
I don't think anybody else.
I have the whole box set on my shelf.
I remember when it was on the What a Cartoon show.
They've got a sheep mattress. I remember that show.
They've got a sheep Daikamura.
They have a sheep Funko Pop.
For some reason, the company I was in, for a while, we didn't have an actual first sergeant. We had an acting first sergeant, and this acting first sergeant was actually a master sergeant.
I feel like that's how it was for me, too. There was a role that was supposed to be occupied by a first sergeant. They just didn't get around to putting one there, and it was occupied by a gunnery sergeant.
Yeah. So we had an interim first sergeant. I'm just going to name him First Sergeant Bob. He would insist that everyone referred to him as First Sergeant, even though he wasn't actually he was an interim first sergeant.
Yeah,
right.
First sergeant wasn't his rank, it was his role.
It was his role.
He's not actually the first sergeant, he's just the first sergeant, you know what I'm saying?
So in other words, he was just holding on to the billet, his position, but the rank he had was master sergeant, which, oh, come on, dude. Just get over yourself. You're a master sergeant, it's going to confuse people. A private first class has got bigger things to worry about than what to call you.
He insisted everyone refer to him as first sergeant, which is understandable.
Is it understandable? It's kind of like when military wives say, "You will refer to me by my husband's rank."
Yeah, no.
I've never heard that before. No, hey, to my fellow veterans, type in the comment section below if some military wife was telling you got to call her by her rank. That is, or by her husband's rank. That is stupid. You know, it'd be even funnier. Let's say it was a captain, who got demoted down to lieutenant. She'd be like, yeah, you gotta call me lieutenant now.
No, you're just some bitch. Why don't you get your hands off of my car? I was at this pump first.
I didn't mean to send you down this flashback.
I just want to get some gas. buy 5 packs of cigarettes, and go home.
Exactly.
My husband's a first sergeant. I don't give a fuck, lady. I actually don't care. Anyway, he was acting first sergeant, and he took it kind of far.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this formation, and one of the soldiers passed out because it's very hot.
Mm-hmm.
And First Sergeant Bob goes over to him and starts yelling at him for passing out. Instead of just being like, hey, I understand it's fucking hot. Basically goes over and starts chewing this dude out.
How dare you be unconscious?
How dare you?
Hey, that happens, especially way up there in North Carolina. Sometimes those summers would be really hot and unbearable. Man, those bugs were annoying as hell.
You pass out. Well, once the guy woke up. Goes over and starts chewing the dude out. And the guy says, Roger, Master Sergeant. And he flips shit and says, I am a fucking first sergeant. You refer to me as a first sergeant, blah, blah. And starts going off on it. And the guy's like, he doesn't have first sergeant rank on. Why on earth would I refer? Anyway.
It might be the rank on his lapel, but that's not his rank.
Yeah, okay.
Most of the people in this company did not like this first sergeant.
Understandable. He seemed like a prick. One of those, okay, yeah. Not a popular dude.
I don't know why not.
I actually had met him when he was
screaming at me at the gas pump with his wife.
I had actually met him when he was in E6, like long before the deployment.
Staff sergeant.
When he was a staff sergeant and he was about the same size as I am. And then he came back from deployment and his arms were as big around as my thighs were. Because this was at a time when the Army wasn't really monitoring steroid use. Anyway.
Are they doing that now?
Yeah. So anyway, he's yelling at this soldier, and everyone in our company, because this soldier is not in our company. He was in like the formation next to ours.
Okay.
So he's yelling at some soldier that, one, isn't even in his chain of command.
Oh my goodness.
And two, insisting that he is a rank which he is not.
Right.
As he's yelling at them, the sergeant major of the infantry battalion comes over and grabs him and is like, you are not a fucking first sergeant.
Oh.
You are not a fucking first sergeant. You are in the position of one. That does not fucking make you a first sergeant. Yeah. If I'm in the position of a warrant officer, that doesn't fucking make me a warrant officer.
Oh.
Don't you fucking tell him to call you what fucking rank you're not.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. We gotta rewind that. That is beautiful.
Insisting that he is a rank which he is not.
Right.
As he's yelling at them, the sergeant major of the infantry battalion comes over and grabs him and is like, you are not a fucking first sergeant.
Oh.
You are not a fucking first sergeant. You are in the position of one. That does not fucking make you a first sergeant.
Yeah.
If I'm in the position of a warrant officer, that doesn't fucking make me a warrant officer. Don't you fucking tell him to call you what fucking rank you're not. I will get you for impersonation of a non-commissioned officer.
Damn. You gotta love it when a sergeant major like that takes command.
Made him stand at parade rest.
Made the first sergeant stand.
Made the first sergeant stand, because the first sergeant...
The acting first sergeant.
Acting first sergeant.
Because the moment he came over and started yelling at him, he's like, yeah, but I, and he goes, you shut the fuck up and stand at parade rest. Just fucking rips into him. I had several disagreements with this man.
I don't believe you. He sounds like a great guy.
I got in an argument with him at one point, because when you have a gun, think of the thing that you're
I like how they had the gun logo right there.
aiming through, whether that's an optic or iron sights or whatever it is. Think of that as a laser.
Okay.
And also, think of the bullet as a laser.
Right
now. When you are aiming at an object, the bullet is going to come out in a straight line, and the laser is going to come out in a straight line. Think of them as two completely parallel lines. When you zero the iron sights or the optic or whatever, what you're basically doing is making those two lines intersect at a specific distance.
Gotcha.
I got in a disagreement with this first sergeant because he was insisting that when you fire an M16, the bullet is going to come straight out of the barrel, and then the bullet will rise up into the air and then go back downwards.
Mm-hmm.
What? None of that makes any sense.
Okay.
I was saying, no, because when you zero the gun,
Right.
you're basically making the barrel go up slightly on an incline so that it's zeroed for a specific distance. So yes, the bullet will go up, but it doesn't rise in. They're not like airsoft pellets. They're not like paintballs. They don't have hop up on them that makes them go up and then down. They just go in a parabolic arc. And I got in a long, drawn out, protracted argument
about parabolic trajectories?
Wow.
He was insisting that all projectiles go up and then down. Even if the barrel is on a completely flat plane, the bullet will go up and then down. And I was like, no, they don't do that.
Look, again, MikeburnFire, clearly a weapons expert. He has maintained a lot of firearms. Clearly, let's defer to him. But he's absolutely correct on this. And even I understand this. And look, at this point, it's been many years since I served in the military and fired a rifle. It's, again, I don't know what that first sergeant's on. That first sergeant must be a real dummy, or he really knew who to rub off just to worm his way up in command. Starting off as an E6, obviously getting roided up, and then getting to the rank of master sergeant, then having the position of a acting first sergeant. He knew how to play politics. Yeah. I'm glad that Sergeant Major ripped him a new one. And I would have paid good money just to see that video.
The reason they do that is because the barrel is angled up slightly. Because that's how you zero a gun. So I got in a long argument. That was one of the many arguments that I got in. One of the things you need to know about helicopter operations is that there's generally 3 people that are in charge of a helicopter.
Okay.
You have the pilot,
Got it.
the co-pilot, and the crew chief.
Gotcha.
If you are interacting with a helicopter, especially like a cargo helicopter, you're basically never going to talk to the pilot or the co-pilot.
Agreed.
Just the crew chief.
The crew chief is pretty much the only person you're going to interact with.
He's
Gotcha.
the liaison.
He's the one that, quote, owns that helicopter.
Got it.
On that helicopter, he is God.
Mm-hmm.
He is the one in charge of everything on that helicopter.
Okay.
We're getting ready to ride on helicopters from one place to another place on CH-47s.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting on the
Those are cool.
helicopter, and First Sergeant Bob is going around telling people where to sit. He's basically micromanaging the hell out of everything.
Acting like he's the chief crewman.
Acting like he's the crew chief. Like, yeah, put this here, put that thing there, put that thing there. And this crew chief comes up and is like, hey, don't put that there.
Mm.
Basically, just no, don't do that thing that you're doing. First Sergeant Bob looks at his rank and goes, don't tell me what to do. I'm a first sergeant.
Get out of here.
The crew chief looks at him and goes, get the fuck off my helicopter.
He kicked the acting first sergeant off the helicopter.
At which point this devolved into an argument between the two of them of, I don't have to listen to you, you're a staff sergeant. And then...
I don't have to listen to you, you're a gunnery sergeant or whatever.
I don't have to listen to you, you're a not first sergeant. Well, I don't
That's
have
right.
to listen to you because you're not a first sergeant either. He wouldn't have known that. That would have been funny. Anyway, they start getting into this argument, and eventually the crew chief and like 2 other people have to come up and be like, no, get the fuck off the helicopter. If the crew chief says to get off the helicopter, you get off his fucking helicopter.
He must not have known it was the crew chief.
I guess not.
So again, I think for some of our non-military folks, obviously there's ranks and then there's billets and positions that you have. And it doesn't matter if someone's a crew chief of that helo. This is have to kind of go back to old man Kit, hang on to young Kit Cabell's 04 to 08. I do remember us getting briefed like, hey, the crew chief's in charge of the helo, because during our deployments, when we were being obviously we were flown in, I remember on my second tour we got on the helo and the crew chiefs were the ones who were in charge. And obviously they weren't part of our unit, but they got us from point A to point B. So there you go. That's when they said, like, hey, don't piss off the crew chiefs. That's what I remember. There you go. Old man Kit. It's finally happened. I'm getting senile. Where's my brain medicine?
I don't know how he didn't know, but anyway, he got in an argument with the crew chief. The crew chief kicked him off the helicopter, and he
Beautiful.
couldn't fly out for another 3 hours.
Beautiful.
Because the crew chief basically went to everyone that was in that flight block and was like, yeah, don't let this guy on the helicopter, make him go on the next one.
Okay.
If he's gonna mouth off to me, he'll probably mouth off to you.
Good.
Well, thank you, Zach, because by relaying this information to me, I now have a plan if I ever get drafted and sent out to war. Just piss off all the crew flight chiefs.
Yeah, you could just piss off all the crew chiefs, though I think then they would probably just court-martial you
yeah,
or something.
Hey, I'm trying to get out to the war, but I mean, these guys don't want to fly me. They're being real jerks about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I like to imagine I'm just doing that and I get promoted and people come by. I'm like an 8-month veteran at doing this.
just been doing it over and over and over again, just really, really using that sham shield.
You say sham shield, but I'd be like an E7 or an E8.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He'd be the master sergeant of the concrete flight ground.
Anyway, we went on a whole tangent about First Sergeant Bob and being a goober.
Who wasn't actually a first sergeant.
I think he went to Fort Leavenworth.
Fort Leavenworth is a prison.
I think he was part of a massive embezzling scheme that the sergeant major of the support battalion that I was technically a member of was running.
Wow.
He was smuggling out first sergeant insignias.
When they went to the Velcro ones, he was smuggling those out.
Oh, wow, that's great. Karma. So if he's actually sent to jail, perfect. Beautiful. Couldn't happen to a more deserving person. Even I'm stressed out a little bit now just hearing that story about First Sergeant Bob, the goober. Holy cow. Man, Mike, I feel sorry for you. I know in my unit, we didn't really have anyone like that. But I have heard other stories. And some far worse than what Mike has told. And I'm pretty sure Mike knows his own fair share of stories and horror stories of, people of higher ranks just being real jagoffs. So there you go. Hey, folks, especially to my veteran crews, type in the comment section below if you recall, if you have any situations with First Sergeant Bob or worse. Type in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going.
We had a guy in my company that was one of the PLL clerks. He's basically one of the people that like orders parts, but he was an E4. They kept trying to promote him to other things. He just straight up was like, no, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Oh, you want me to re-enlist? Yeah, I'll re-enlist. But no, I don't want to get promoted. And somebody was like, why do you keep re-enlisting if you don't want to get promoted? He's like, I'm just doing my 8 years so that they can't hold me in for any longer.
Oh.
He was being really smart about it. He was like, no, don't promote me. I like the exact position I'm in. I'm not getting promoted. I will straight up refuse to be promoted.
I didn't realize you could refuse to be promoted.
I don't know specifically how he would.
I've never heard that. But wow, kudos to the guy who actually pulled it off.
Was doing it, but yeah, he basically was just like,
I'm gonna fail my physical fitness scores so you can't promote me.
no, actually, now that I think about it, he was probably doing the exact same thing I was doing, which is, oh, we're sending you to warrior leaders course. Nope, can't go. Can't do it. I'm busy that day. I got too much work to do.
Fixing guns, sorry. Because you didn't want to get side promoted to corporal.
God, no. That would have been awful. I would have been absolutely miserable. If they had made me in charge of the entire battalion's small arms repair, and I was in charge of, like, 5 soldiers, I would have fucking killed myself.
Would have been difficult to keep tabs on those 5 soldiers when you're also stuck in the armory.
I was not an armor. I was the small arms repairman. There is actually a difference. So basically, there's 4 levels of working with weapons in the military. 1 is operator, 2 is armor, 3 is small arms repairman, and then 4 is, like, manufacturer.
So they bring you the guns when the armorer can't fix them. You're the armorer's armorer.
I am 1 step above armors.
Something very technical that most people aren't trained on, you could fix.
Yes.
You got the hard jobs.
Yes. So I was not responsible for just one company's worth of weapons. I was responsible for an entire battalion's worth of weapons.
Yeah.
And then also keeping enough parts on hand to be able to fix all of the weapons in that battalion. My end goal was keep any weapon from being completely deadline for more than 1 day.
How often would you say you kept that goal?
Most of the time I was able to do it.
Were there any guns that were particularly mangled that you were like, this is going to take about 2 weeks, maybe 4?
I wonder. See, now the thing is, I'm proud to say I maintained all my weapons. All my weapons were properly maintained and squared away and squeaky clean as always.
On the 50 cal machine gun,
oh boy,
basically you could adjust the timing by opening the back plate of the gun and then undoing this little screw. You could make it fire theoretically faster. You're not actually making it fire faster. You're making it fire earlier when the bolt is closing.
I will take your words on these.
Which, yes, it does make the gun fire faster, but it also means that you can have an out-of-battery detonation, which on a 50 cal isn't exactly...
Okay, if someone's fired a 50 cal, that's not a good thing either. Okay, now, I'm proud to say Nobody in my unit ever did that.
A good happy thing, but because making it fire earlier makes it fire faster, you get a bunch of infantry that goes haha machine gun go burr, and they unscrew it all the way and then blow up their machine gun.
So those are weapons you can't fix very easily.
Yeah, the worst I've seen where a weapon was deadlined for permanently, so the Mark 19 grenade launcher gets real hot. It's a fully automatic belt.
Those are awesome. It's a machine gun that fires grenades. And it's great. It's a belt-fed grenade launcher. It gets the job done. Trust me on it, folks. It is a beautiful work of art.
Belt-fed grenade launcher. It weighs like 80 pounds. It's meant to be on a tripod or on a vehicle mount or whatever. It very explicitly says in the manual that you are only allowed to use LSA or LSAT lubricant in it.
Okay.
You are not supposed to use CLP.
Yeah, it's something I learned too. CLP, for your M16, A2, A4, M4 carbine, M249 saw. But the one thing I was taught, CLP can't be used for the other stuff. CLP can solve some problems. It can't solve all of the problems.
Yeah.
And for the uninitiated, CLP was like a cleaning lubricant to maintain your weapon, your rifle.
Yes. Good old CLP.
You are not allowed to use CLP in this grenade launcher.
But every Marine and soldier knows how to use CLP. We've all got it. It's so easy. It's such a useful lubricant.
You're only supposed to use LSA. They went out to a range with a Mark 19, and the gunner of the Mark 19 decided to use just whatever lubricant he had on hand.
Hey, lube is lube.
And while that saying is true, sometimes not all the lube can solve all the problems.
Mark 19 caught on fire.
Holy shit.
This fully automatic grenade launcher burst into flames.
The lubricant caught fire, did it now?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I don't know how it damaged this machine gun that badly from just it catching on fire, but the whole thing, it looked like it had been in a house fire. I don't know if like the vehicle caught fire or something, but the whole machine gun, it was melted. Completely melted.
Neat.
And they were like, "Yeah, can you fix
No, you can't fix that, and I'm not an expert.
this?" No. There's no way I can fix this. This has to be decommissioned and cut up and turned into scrap now.
Gotta dermo it.
The amount of times that people got mad at me because I could not fix their weapon was just absolutely astonishing.
They just got used to you being a magic man, working miracles.
No, I think it
So in other words, MikeburnFire was a tech priest insincere.
was just that it meant that they had to do something now.
Oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble if he can't fix it. Fix it!
I would have people bring me M4s, and sometimes the unit armor would bring the person whose M4 it was. There were a couple times where I straight up was like, "Yeah, you bring me the person that did this so that I can yell at them."
I want to figure out how they did this. This is impressive.
That's how I found out about the M4 that the barrel was bent in half because they'd slammed it in the door of an up-armored Humvee multiple times.
I slammed my barrel in the car door.
There were a few times they were using simunitions, and you're supposed to use a completely different, like upper receiver.
Oh no.
For these specific simunitions. But they would just fire simunition through a normal barrel, and the entire barrel would get filled up with basically wax bullets, which ruins their barrel forever.
Yeah.
I can't fix that. So they would bring it to me and be like, "Hey, I need you to fix this." All right, well, I have to swap out your barrel. There's literally nothing else I can do except swap out the barrel.
Yep,
so I'd start taking their gun apart to rip the barrel off it. "Hey, am I gonna have to re-zero my gun?" "Yeah, of course you are. Why do I have to re-zero it? Oh, what? Do you know how long it took me to zero that gun? It should take you like 5 fucking minutes, bruh. What the shit?"
It should have, but he's not that smart.
Oh my god. What an asshole. I would again, maybe it's just because of my training in the Marine Corps. We were always trained, hey, that weapon's your life. You screw it up, you damage it, we're going to rip off your head and crap down your neck. I'm proud to say I maintained my weapon. I named her Cleopatra. She held into my heart, my M4. I'll miss that one.
There were a couple times where people broke them in really stupid ways, and they were like, hey, am I gonna have to re-zero my gun? I would just be like, nope, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Go into combat, it'll be great.
And they'd probably take you at your word, not realizing you're being sarcastic.
I don't care. It's not my problem. That's their chain of command's problem for not making sure that their gun is zeroed.
Mm-hmm. I guess.
Oh, man. Hey. All right, that is an awesome video. Shout out to, again, MikeburnFire for this awesome YouTube video. First Sergeant, Damaged Firearms, Campfire Stories. First and foremost, holy shitballs. What a jag-off First Sergeant. Clearly seemed like a real douchebag. Glad that he's no longer a acting presence for any of these people. And I'm so glad that Sergeant Major ripped him a new one. Like I said before, type in the comment section below, especially to my fellow veterans, if you dealt with somebody who was like that, or if you heard stories of something far, far worse. And as for being, again, the tech pre-sincere for his battalion, MikeburnFire should have a chest of medals, because I bet he should have the medal of patience, or the medal of keeping calm while under stupidity, because my goodness, hearing these stories about how these people screw up, for example, having your automatic grenade launcher catch on fire, or some dumb idiot smashing their barrel in an armored Humvee. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? I've never heard of that kind of stupidity before. I mean, no one in my unit ever did anything like that, and I have no stories to compare it to. I've never heard anything that asinine. But from other people's stories, though, when I got out, turns out stupidity is very common. The old saying, two things common in the universe is hydrogen and stupidity. And unfortunately, stupidity seems to be becoming far more common in this crazy upside-down world that's about to blow up. So, without further ado, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that ring bell notification. That way you're made aware in case we upload any new content here for Chicago Reacts. Check out our Discord. Consider supporting us on Patreon. Also, be sure to check out MikeburnFire's YouTube channel. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of his content. And, folks, if there's a fun YouTube video you want us to react to, type in the comment section below or talk about it on our Discord page. My name's Kit. I'm out of here. Bye.